you will do so today or this week. We really need all of your participation. All right, now we're going to move on to our main program. Heather Snavely became the president and CEO of AAA of Washington in July of 2021. Heather is an imaginative leader who is drawn to brands fueled by passion and a clear mission. She is the first woman to leave AAA of Washington, which serves 1.2 million members across Washington and northern Idaho. Throughout her nearly 30-year career, she's worked across multiple industries. She most recently held the VP of Marketing role at PCC Community Markets, and prior to that, she led global marketing at Brooks Running Company and global consumer communications for Xbox. She was also the head of the Hive, or global brand communication at Cranium. She sits on the boards of American Commerce Insurance and KEXP, an arts organization considered one of the most influential listener-supported radio stations in the world. A Minnesota native, Heather and her husband live in the Wallingford neighborhood where they raise two passionate Sounder fans, those Sounders, who now attend college on the other coast. She does her best thinking on long runs and never passes up the opportunity to travel, see live music, or get layered buttered popcorn at the movies. Please welcome Heather Snavely.
Thank you so much, Beth. And thank you all of you for having me for lunch. I really appreciate it. I'm going to confess right away, I'm used to walking when I present. And so being stuck to a podium is going to be an interesting, it's going to be interesting to see how I do. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Amazing. Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh. You saved my life. Thank you. So how many of you are AAA or AAA members, should I say? Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate your membership. Okay. How many of you knew that AAA Washington was a Washington state business and not part of some big, huge federation? Okay, fewer, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you. Thank you for those who do know, but I'm here to talk to you about who we are, who we serve, and what we do. Beth did a great job with my intro. I wanted to share a little bit more about my background and my career. So I'm originally from Minneapolis, but we moved to Seattle in 1999. I came to work for Edelman, which is a global PR agency. I stayed there the longest. I was there 6.5 years. That's the longest tenure I've had. And then I left and I did PR at Cranium, which is a board game maker, if you know them, as well as Xbox. Then I shifted into marketing when I went to Brooks, and then I was in marketing at PCC as well, and I'm in my current role. And I think one of the things that has defined my career is a passion for the consumer. And the best example I can give you of what I mean by that is when I was at Brooks, I trained for and ran a marathon so that I could better understand the runner. And that's the approach that I've taken in every job that I have. When I'm in, I'm all in. The thing that I think, there are three themes that run through these organizations, everyone that I've been at, and some of them really apply to the Rotary as well. One, they're all uniquely independent. Even Xbox, at the time that I was at Xbox was uniquely independent within Microsoft, but all of them were uniquely independent. All of them, like the Rotary, knew who they are, what they believe, and why they exist. And because of that, the third thing, they have very passionate fan bases, very passionate advocates. And for that reason, there's a great platform to build the brand and to build the business. That's what drew me to all of those businesses, including AAA Washington. And so I want to share a little bit about us. So AAA Washington, as I mentioned, Washington State business. We were founded in 1904 by a bunch of guys in Seattle, businessmen who were enamored with this new technology called the internal combustion engine vehicle. And they wanted to be able to travel safely in those vehicles. They wanted to have roads that they could drive on. And they wanted to make sure that as those roads were built, that the greenways that made our state unique were not destroyed. And so they wanted to preserve those. And then lastly, they wanted to make sure that other people who loved to motor came to Washington. So they were advocates of tourism. So those are some things that continue to run through our club today. As an organization, We are actually part of a bigger federation. So we are an independent club. We have our own board that I report to. We have our own financials and P&L and everything that we run. We don't, a national has nothing to do with that, but there is a national organization in Florida. They help with policy at the national level. They make sure that we're using the brand right. So think of it almost like a franchise. There's 32 clubs around the nation. There's 4 really mega clubs, and the mega clubs have millions of members. They go across a vast trade areas that make absolutely no sense. And the reason is back in the 1900s, every city, every county had an auto club. And over time, those have merged and people have acquired them. And so the mega clubs got more of them. There's 3 mid-sized clubs. Washington State is the largest mid-sized independent club. We have 1.2 million members. We have all of Washington plus Northern Idaho. The other 2 clubs are Oregon, which has Southern Idaho, and then Western and Central New York. And to give you a sense, we have 1.2 million members. Oregon and Western Central have about 800,000 members. And then after that, the rest of the clubs kind of drop off a cliff. Minneapolis, where I'm from, has its own club. There's some counties that have their own clubs, but they're all smaller. We're a not-for-profit corporation, so it means we exist solely for our members. And we have about 600 employees. Those employees do everything from help you on the side of the road to make sure a truck gets out to you on the side of the road, to booking travel for people, to writing insurance policies, to hiring our staff, marketing our services, and they're all over the state. Our headquarters are in Factoria, right in actually the T-Mobile headquarters. We're right on the freeway there, if you ever drive by Wave. And then we have 14 travel and cruise locations, full service spots where you can go book with a travel agent. You can buy merchandise. You can get a triptych. Someone mentioned to me earlier that they got a triptych. That is Google Maps before Google Maps existed. It was the paper version. We still do them if you like them. So come on by and get them. And then we also have travel gear. And then we have 7 additional destinations that are just insurance locations. But our members are the core of what we do. And we just rolled out a new vision, mission, and values earlier this year to our staff. And our mission is that we equip members with these services and expertise to confidently travel through life. And I'm guessing the #1 service that you all know is emergency roadside. So how many of you, since everyone in the room is basically a member, how many of you have been saved on the side of the road by AAA? Awesome. And hopefully you had a lovely experience. I think just like every brand that I've been with, people have amazing stories about what AAA has done for them. And that is core of who we are. So automotive services, emergency roadside, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We are there for you, including during the pandemic. We are an essential service. The other pieces that go into automotive services are our approved auto repair and then battery sales. But then, as I mentioned, we also have travel. We have a full service travel agency, which many people don't realize. We have travel agents. You can also, if you like to do it yourself, you can go online and we have that service online. We also are the largest personal lines insurance agency in Washington State. So we sell other people's insurance, so Travelers and Safeco. But the really big news is that we've set up our own company with a partner, Mafre, who's a global carrier. They have offices in the US as well, but we'll be selling AAA branded insurance in Washington State starting this summer. That's incredibly important for our club because it means that we can remain independent. It's a new source of income. It's a separate company that we've set up and we can serve our members for generations to come. The last piece is membership and member services. So when you join, someone else also mentioned that when they travel, they carry their card because you can get discounts at hotels, et cetera. Yes, you can get discounts and rewards as part of member services. We have a partnership with Hertz Rental Car. You can get discounts there with Experian and Protect Your ID. Protect My ID is technically what it's called. And then also there's great AAA tickets where you can get discounts on tickets to the theater, to sporting events, to music events. I will let you know now, there are not discounted Taylor Swift tickets there because I've checked. They're not there. They cost just as much as every other reseller is selling. But really, when you look at, these are the services that our members have come to trust us for, that are every day our employees show up and bring their expertise to serve our members. But you're probably asking, who are our members? So our average member is about 60 plus. They're affluent, they're well educated, and emergency roadside service is why they are with us. That idea of being safe, that peace of mind that emergency roadside brings. But the truth is, we need, like many brands, we need to continue to grow and we need to bring new members in. And our growth is going to come from a younger member. And our research is telling us that that younger member, that peace of mind isn't what they're coming to organizations for. What they want to know is that you're treating your employees well, that you're engaged in your community, that you are aware of the impact that you have on the environment. And then if they're going to join something, they want it to be an extension of who they are. They want it to be part of a community. They want to have some type of connection. And so we know that we need to make this shift. And part of that, I mentioned earlier that we have rolled out a new vision, mission, values. You don't often share your vision externally because it's really meant to be inspiration for your internal team. But I wanted to share it because I think the important thing here is nowhere in here do we talk about roadside or automotive or the travel. What we talk about is what we want our members to feel and how we want them to help them experience the world. And that's the new lens that we're looking at as we think about membership moving forward. We want it to be more than tow miles and triptychs. We want it to be an experience, some way that we're connecting with you. And the first place that we're starting is how we're thinking about it internally. Since I joined, I've been with AAA about a year and a half, almost, it'll be 2 years in July. And since joining, I've added 3 key roles to our leadership team. The first is a VP of HR and Chief People Officer. So we didn't have a VP of HR before. Our people are our greatest assets. Our VP of Automotive likes to talk about the automotive team similar to an airline. So if you have a bunch of planes and no pilots, you're not going anywhere. Well, if we have a bunch of trucks and no drivers, we can't help you all on the side of the road. And if we don't have dispatchers to get there, we can't do that. And so people are our most important asset. And having someone dedicated to those people was really important to me. And it's focused on not just recruitment, but development and retention of amazing talent. The other one is a vice president of corporate affairs and environmental and social governance. This is a brand new role that I added as well. This person is committed to our communities and the impacts we have socially and environmentally. Right now, we're working on what our environmental and social and governance goals are. We're actually sharing them with our board in a couple weeks. Once we have those approved, we'll start to do an impact report that we share externally. Transparency is really important to me internally with our team as well as externally with our members. And so that's work that we'll start to do in the future. And then the last one is one I'm incredibly excited about. It's a chief experience officer. So we eliminated our chief marketing officer role and changed it to a chief experience officer, VP of member experience role, because I believe that the member should be at the center. And it's not just how we're marketing to them, but how we're connecting with them and the experiences that they have with us. This person, it's a new person, she starts on Monday. I'm very excited for it. So she'll be coming then. And building that foundation for how we start to evolve and become more, as I said, more than just triptychs and tow miles. We already do have a really solid foundation with our members, though. And part of that comes from the legacy that we have of being their voice on some really important issues. And this is a really good time to share that our employees are also our members. So members include the people outside our organization, but our employees are members too. And one of the most important things that we do is a program called Slow Down and Move Over. A tow truck driver dies every 6 days in the US. It's one of the most dangerous jobs in the country. And so the work that we do here is to educate around the fact that when you see flashing lights on the side of the road, you need to move over and slow down to help protect those first responders, including our drivers. So we do PSAs around that. We have tried to move legislation forward around that. Super important work that we've done for a number of years. We also invest quite a bit in distracted driving and eliminating that and educating people around the dangers of texting while driving and setting your phone aside. And then this legislative session, we've had 2 initiatives that we've been working on. One is around driving schools and a self-directed driver's education online. Other states across the nation have this. We don't yet. And we think this is an issue of equity because not everyone has the dollars or the time or the ability to go to another location and take driver's education. And once you turn 18, you can drive no matter what. And so if there's an option where you can do it online, self-directed, that allows us to help them make the roads even safer. And then another piece of legislation that we want to move forward is around safety at traffic stops. So equity in traffic stops and safety stops so that we can eliminate some of those unnecessary stops that happen that lead to very, very dangerous situations. So that's other work that we're doing as well. In addition, going back to our legacy of being the first ones to advocate for internal combustion engine vehicles, we also are getting ahead of the zero emission vehicle conversation and trying to be a part of that. So we're helping with policy, with infrastructure, with educating our members. So we have resources online that can help you figure out what car you should be buying. We have charging stations at some of our stores. So in coming soon to Tacoma, but we also have them in Vancouver and in Linwood if you want to go up north. We also are part of an accelerator that is looking at how do we electrify fleets, because a regular electric car is very different than a giant tow truck that needs to tow something, or a service vehicle, right? So how do you electrify that? We're working with others to figure that out. And then we're working with a group and a commission to help the state with its electrification strategy. So a lot of work that we're trying to do to get ahead of mobility and help our members and others do that as well. And then we're investing in strategic partnerships. And this is both to try to reach those new members, but also to learn and to get ahead of things. One is Recurrent. They're a really cool local company that helps people assess the health of the batteries in their electric cars. So you can imagine, as we get more used electric cars in the market, you're going to need a way to understand, like, what is the health of that car truly? This company is getting ahead of that and doing that. We also, you've probably seen them. Has anyone ever used a gig car share car? They're out about a few people. Yeah. So this is our entry into the share economy. Gig car share is powered by AAA. You probably haven't noticed it because it was before I got there and I'm a marketing person. I would have made the logo a little bit bigger. But when you are in there, you can see it's a little teeny logo. But that's another thing that we're doing around mobility. And then in the travel space, we have a partner that we've invested in named Cabana. They're these sweet vans that are tricked out with queen size bed. They've got a shower, so you can take a warm shower. They've got a kitchen. Yes, it's a great way to travel. So you should check it out there in Seattle. And then the other one is Audio. So that's a content play. Audio is recently on Shark Tank. They also have Kevin Costner as an investor in that. And basically, when you go on road trips, they serve you content about the places you're driving through, so you can learn about where you're going. So these are a few ways that we're expanding beyond what we currently do. And then we have a really big national partnership with a little company that's local called T-Mobile. And so the big push behind this is to help us get a younger audience, a more urban audience as well. And we have seen incredible results from this because we've got a lot of T-Mobile users in Washington State and particularly the Seattle area who may not necessarily be AAA users. And so we've gotten some good membership from that as well. And then we do a lot to support our local communities. So one of our biggest programs is Safety Patrol. Is there anyone who was a Safety Patrol growing up? Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Audie. So I was too. I was a Safety Patrol in 6th grade. I did it over lunch for the kindergartners. And my favorite part was when you got to yell signing off on your corner. But AAA actually created the program. I had no idea about that. And in Washington State, we just celebrated the 100th anniversary of that program last year. And what's amazing about it, if you were lucky enough to be in it, but you know that it teaches kids leadership, service, responsibility. It's a really, really great and powerful program. We also have a wonderful program called Soap for Hope, where when you travel and you get those little and the shampoos, et cetera, we collect those, the unused ones, and we donate them to people in need. So that's a program that we've done for a number of years. We're very involved in our communities around DEI and diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, specifically pride parades in different communities that we go to. Our staff participates in those. We continue to partner with different nonprofits to preserve greenways. And then last year, for the first time, we did the Ruby Bridges Walk to School, which was started by another AAA club to commemorate Ruby Bridges in Louisiana. She was part of the desegregation movement, had to walk to school with actually police to protect her. And so it commemorates that and takes that walk again. So we did that for the first time in a community here, and we're going to continue to expand that as well as part of our work. So those are all of the things that hopefully when you walked in, you thought of AAA as emergency roadside service. You may have known that we had triptychs and we had discounts, but there's so much more to who we are and who we want to become and where we're going to go. And hopefully I've given you just a little taste of what that is. And with that, I'm going to open it up for questions. Thank you.
Heather, I have a question. in reference to your, yeah, right, your targeting the younger audience. I know that there was a period of time there where a lot of young high schoolers were choosing not to get their driver's license. What is happening in that trend now, and where do you see young adults and driving habits?
That is still happening. So there's this unique thing that's happening where young adults don't want to drive and older adults want to hold on to their licenses as long as possible. There was actually recently coverage in the New York Times about this. And so that's another reason why we are rethinking what membership means. Yes, we are the automotive, a Club of America, but one of the things I was doing taxes with my daughter the other day, is her second time doing them. And I realized no one teaches you anymore how to do the adulting stuff, right? Like how to do taxes, when you need insurance, different, your credit card and your credit score. And I had this moment, we have partners in tax and preparing your taxes. We have a credit card partner with it in how to do your credit bureau and your credit rating. What if for that younger audience, the entryway in isn't necessarily around automobiles, but it's around adulting and how AAA might help you adult better. And then as you transition, it's like, oh, and now I have more dollars and I want to travel and I could use that travel agency. And now I'm ready for that car because I have a family and AAA is there for me. So it's switching and pivoting. So it's not just about cars anymore. It's about much more.
Thank you, Heather. Just a minute. And I want to say thank you for your partnership with Mountain to Sound Greenway.
You are welcome. Yes, thank you. We've been a partner for a while.
Hey, I got a quick question, and I'm going to admit I have some ignorance here.
Yeah.
But when I think about AAA, incredible organization, and I'm very familiar with life insurance, very familiar. Good marketing.
I know.
Heard
That's,
a lot-
I'm
heard
going
from
to
you a
say,
lot.
we don't send those. That's a
Oh my
national
gosh.
organization I know, and everyone gets a ton of them. I apologize. Yeah.
Actually, once I turned 60, they really started to bombard me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go any day now. No, I was thinking, since you're a mutual and your major competitor, I would assume one of your competitors would be other auto insurance companies that offer towing and roadside assistance. So has AAA ever looked into providing their own auto insurance? Because as mutual, you would be a very.
Oh, we are. So that is as the company that we're starting up this summer, and I failed to mention what type we're selling. So we will sell AAA branded insurance. We'll have property, we'll have auto, and we will have umbrella. Yes. And actually one of the interesting things that I learned when I came here is there are, yes, insurance companies have their own roadside assistance, but in some cases it's actually AAA who's doing it. It's a white label. And that's how it is for for cars, different cars. We do it for them. Yeah.
Excuse me? We have another.
Oh. Does AAA have any competitors?
Yes.
And who are they?
Yeah.
And how are they different from you guys?
Yeah, great question. So in every category, so is there anyone who's specifically like us? I think closest to like a membership type thing might be like a Costco, because you can actually get roadside service, you can get travel services, a credit card. The difference is they are also a grocery store and an electronics and all of those things. So that is one type of competitor. AARP is another type. There are other insurance companies who do their own roadside assistance. Anywhere else you can book travel. So we're in this weird space where we have a number of competitors that are different. American Express could also be considered a competitor because that's also a membership. So that's part of why I love this job too, is that it's just a very interesting category. And how do you think about the competition and what angle do you go at? Yeah.
Bill Center has another question.
And there's a question over here too at this. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay, great.
She's
She's got
highly
a
mobile.
system. She's got a system. Don't tell her. Okay.
Yeah, forgive me for not standing up. I want to make a comment so that you can make another commercial. But as I've grown older, technology has changed a lot, and you can book all kinds of travel on the internet, and there's a tendency to think that's the best way to do it. But people are always telling me, you need professional help. And I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about, but I found out that having a travel agent is really a great thing, that they can do things that you can't do easily on the internet. And I just want to say, for those of you who haven't used a travel agent lately, that you might really find it beneficial.
Thank you for saying that. And you know what one of the things I've learned in my role too is that millennials, so Gen X, my generation doesn't like a travel agent. Millennials and the folks older than me love a travel agent. And I think, yes, please try a travel agent, because one of the things they can do, particularly in COVID, is they can help you figure out if there's any issues that you're going to have. They handle all the hard stuff so that you get to do all the fun stuff. So I would thank you for doing a commercial for us.
We have one more question over here.
Yes.
Well, you're definitely speaking my language once you got into the generations. One of the questions, and as a proud Gen Xer, I do love my travel agent. Wouldn't travel without
Really?
my travel
Wow,
agent.
that's good
Oh,
to
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're in trouble, that's who you want to talk to.
Yes, that's true.
When you're
That
running
is
for the
true.
gate, when your plane is canceled. Yeah, you want your travel agent on it.
Yes.
But my question was around millennials.
Yeah.
Love to travel in groups, and they love adventure travel, and they love eco travel. So
Yes.
how has that showed up for you on the radar? Do you have that branch of eco?
We
and
do.
adventure?
So, the biggest in our travel business, the thing that we sell the most of is cruises. And I have learned there's a cruise for every type of way you want to travel. If you want just a foodie cruise that is small and you're going into port and you're not spending a lot of time on the ship, actually, there's something amazing for you. If you want to be a party cruise, you can do that as well. We also have land tours, and we have this, I should know what that's called. I think it's Adventures, AAA Adventures. But we have land tours. They're about 12 people max, and they go in and they have locals to do the tours for you. You visit local restaurants. It's very much tries to get you into the experience of being there, and there's various levels. So you can go very like traveling public transportation, or you can go higher end where it's a little nicer and higher scale. So that is one way that we've dipped our toe into that. We are also in the middle of the pandemic, gave us this great opportunity to take a step back on travel and say, are we doing it the best way now? And what should we change? So we're in the middle of kind of shifting our travel strategy a little bit. Part of that is better understanding what type of travel products we should have to appeal to that audience.
And we have a question here from Fred Weiss.
Thank you so much. We enjoyed it, and you're cute up there. That's
thanks.
appreciated
Thank you.
always. Is America getting safer or less safe in our driving habits?
So the question is America getting safer or less safer in driving habits? Actually, it's getting less safe. So coming out of the pandemic, people are driving more recklessly. They're driving faster. Washington State is actually one of the states that has a greater problem in that area. So yes, it is getting more dangerous. And you're also seeing that come through in insurance. So as a result of the more severe crashes, you're seeing higher claims, et cetera. And so, yes, that is something that we're working with national and here to try to educate around that as well.
Jim McCurdy has a question.
It's not a question as
Oh,
much as a
okay.
thank you. You might want to know that this table is at least 170 years worth of membership, including one who's 50
Wonderful.
and one who's 40.
Oh, great. Wait, but then there was a question on why I thought it was getting worse in terms of safety. I think I think people are losing patience, which is unfortunate. I think the time where we spent not driving during the pandemic, people got bad behaviors as well. But I do think there's just it feels like everyone's a little more rushed now, and there's less patience in the world. So I think that's contributing.
I have a two-part question. Is the perception of AAA still that it's an older brand? I'm going
Yes.
back to the millennials. And then how do you keep on doing a better job? Because everything that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure if you took a quiz, most of us do not know about.
Correct. Well,
So how in the world are you ever going to bridge that? Because you've got a lot of stuff,
yes, yes,
not just picking up my car.
yes. So that's an excellent question. And I've got a gal who's starting on Monday who's going to solve it all. But I'll do the best to answer it. So the amazing thing about AAA is that almost everyone, we have amazing brand awareness, and the people who know us love us. And that's actually that's the other thing that's consistent with every brand that I've worked with. Like the people, they even when they didn't have strong brand awareness, the people that did know them absolutely love them. So the people who know AAA love them. The audiences that we want to go after don't know us as well. Part of that is just generational, because what you find is if your family has always had AAA, you know AAA. If your family never had AAA, you don't know AAA. How do we get around that? I think one, we really have to focus on how we talk about ourselves and what we're promoting. I think I'll be the first to say right now, our marketing is kind of all over the place, and we promote 100% ERS, emergency roadside service. Everyone knows we have emergency roadside service. So why is it in our marketing, right? There are certain clubs around the country and in Canada who've stopped putting tow trucks in their ads because they're like, everyone knows we have it, so we should be talking about other things. There's a million other things that we should be talking about. Not a million, we should pick 3. And then those should be the things that we talk about. And so that's part of the work that we'll do once we have that new person in place, is one, figure out what is our positioning and how are we going out into the market? And then through that, what are the key things that we're talking about? And it's not everything, it's just a few things.
Linda Lowry has a question.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, are you guys ever thinking about possibly offering a car share or ride share program?
So we have one, it's called the gig ride share. It's right now, it's just in the Seattle area. It's not on the other side of the state, but we do, and you can find them. There's an app for it, so you can locate them. It's actually, I think it might be the only car share, because I think everyone else might have left the market. So I think it might be the only car share that's in the market right now.
Ride share where you
It's a car, so there's branded cars all over the city that say gig car share on them. And if you go onto the app, it'll tell you if they're available, and then you can use them, rent them, and drive them around and then drop them in another location. So it's similar to, what were the old ones that used to be? Zip car. Yeah. Zip car. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Right now, it's just in the Puget Sound area. So just the Seattle, Tacoma, and the Seattle and East Side area. Yeah.
All right, I have the last question
Wow.
because I got a microphone in my hands. You said before that you're independent, but you're not independent. Are you in communications with all the other clubs around the country? And if so, are you looking for best practices if they're doing something that you wish that you could?
Absolutely. Yes. So the wonderful thing about being in the Federation, yes. And so, yes, we're all independent. There is a rule through national as part of being part of AAA that we cannot market outside our trade areas. So we are not in competition with each other, which is nice. That also means you can't talk about certain things with each other because you don't want to have antitrust issues, right? So, so we do share best practices where we can. We share from a national perspective. For example, for emergency roadside, we share systems so that it's easy. So if I'm in Minnesota and I have a breakdown, I call my AAA Washington number and I still get service. So there are some things that we share. We're in close contact. I'm in close contact with my fellow CEOs for the mid-sized clubs because we have a lot of the same challenges. I will say, one of the things that I find, there are some good ideas out there. AAA in general is a very, it's an old boys club a little bit. And they have thought about the business the same way for a very long time. And so if there's not a precedent, there's hesitance to do that work. And so where we believe our club has an opportunity is because Washington State has such a pioneering spirit and is just a home of innovation, that we're nimble, we're small, we can test and learn, and we can be the ones who are bringing innovative ideas to them and thinking differently, and rapidly going through things so that we can share that with the other clubs. And for me, I'm very passionate about changing what membership means and bringing other people in. And I think that's a place where very often as a national organization, we want to just say, well, emergency roadside is why people join and it's why people they stay. And so we have to be about emergency roadside. And it's like, that's kind of a circular reference, right? Of course it is because that's all we talk about. And so there's not this eagerness to figure out a new way. I think we can figure out the new way and then bring the other clubs along. So I think there's a huge opportunity there. Yes. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Heather. That was a fantastic presentation and